The NHL Trade Deadline this year featured 20 trades involving 33 players. That's down from 24 last year involving 47 players.
Wow.
But akin to 2024 where it was 23 trades and 33 players then too. So it seemed a little bit dead, and then they all kind of came in.
And then the line came in.
That's the line?
You said dead and then line. Deadline.
Oh, deadline. Okay. All right. Steve, it's too late in the day to be making jokes like that, man.
Yeah,
that's
a boo.
Boo. Thank you, Drew.
Please clap.
But we are going to pick our winners and losers. And because of that flurry, it's sort of hard to decipher like what actually happened. But we're going to start with winners. And I want to start with Jesse Blake. Jesse Blake, who is your trade deadline winner for 2026?
My winner for the trade deadline for 2026, Adam Wylde, is as follows. The Buffalo Sabres.
Wow.
Because they're in a position that they have not been in the longest stint in professional sports. They are tied with the New York Jets for the longest postseason drought out of the 4 pro North American men's sports. And this year, they are going to break that. And when you are in a position for the first time to break your record-breaking postseason list streak, you should go all in, and that's what Jarmo Kekalainen has decided to do. Thank goodness they've gotten rid of Kevin Adams, because I don't know if Kevin Adams would have had the balls to make the moves that the Buffalo Sabres made. So I commend Kekalainen for going out, and I know he wanted Parayko, couldn't do it because Parayko didn't want to go there. But getting Logan Stanley as a consolation prize is pretty good. And the price is a little high, but I don't care about the price. They needed something on the back end. That's a part of their team where they need the most help, and they were looking for this asset, and it was your job as a GM of the Buffalo Sabres to reward this group and reward your fans for all of this pain and go out and support them with the help they need. And that is Logan Stanley.
There's a world where they could have been losers, like at the deadline, just because of the Parayko stuff, but they snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, they didn't let that deter them from not making a deal. They still powered through it, and they got a deal done.
Give us a whole D pair.
I love getting Logan Stanley. In that is Luke Shen as well.
I like his leadership too.
Oh yeah, there's playoff experience there. Stanley Cup winner with the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yep. Sam Carrick and Tanner Pearson, both useful.
Yeah, we're not there yet. So Luke Shen is going to be their 6th, 7th defenseman, won't be in the lineup every night, but he's there and he's help. And like Steve said, 2 other small moves. And the overpay, it is an overpay for Sam Carrick, is okay. And that's the theme of the Buffalo Sabres being a winner. Their overpays are okay because you need that depth, and who cares what it costs. And then the last one, a non-overpay, because it costs you nothing, 7th round pick for Tanner Pearson.
Hey, yeah. That's not bad.
I like Buffalo. Well done.
By the way, there are going to be people
playoffs.
that watch this video and go, Colt Parayko and Logan Stanley are not the same, and you're an idiot.
Thank you.
I don't think that's what you're saying, Jesse, right? You're saying, hey, they went out, they got some size, and they already have. Like, I looked at the Colton Parayko trade. I'm like, which of their roster defensemen is going the other way? Because where does he fit? But now we don't have to worry about that.
No, not at all.
What was it? It was Mertka and a first plus. Like, yeah, the return wasn't going to be the same either.
Exactly.
2 can play at that game.
Steve, who's yours? Winner.
I'm going to do what I always do and cheat. Honorable mention to the New York Islanders. They didn't give up any of their significant prospects while still adding to their team.
It's the New York Islanders. Okay.
But no, my real answer
no, you don't
is
get to do
yes,
that.
I do.
No, you
yes,
don't.
I do. Yes, I do.
I do the honorable mentions after as things we didn't pick.
All right, well, we're on the AWP, I guess.
No.
I guess we're on AWP. No, it's Colorado. I mean,
Colorado.
What
Yeah.
Crazy, immaculate vibes getting the belle of the ball, the center that everyone wanted, Nick Waugh. And to add to that, they also got Nazem Kadri. Incredible vibes there. Getting back a guy who you probably didn't want to ever lose.
You should include Kulak in that too, and moving the Gerard contract, which was not needed. And
Sure. And you got Nelson last year. He's still here. You have probably the most ridiculous 1 through 4 center depth in the entire. You probably have the most ridiculous 1 through 6 center depth in the entire league. You're poised to contend for a Stanley Cup this year, and that's the whole point. Hooray!
Now, Steve and Jesse picked 2 winners that added, which I like. I'd like to pick a winner that's subtracted and subtracted big. And I know this from having lived out there. It's difficult to get Flames ownership to do anything rational. It is. Mm-hmm. They want to win. I appreciate that. But they don't seem to ever make the right decisions toward really getting across that line. The right decision to do this year, and 2 years ago when they did it, was sell. Last year was a mirage. I think we all knew that, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, 96 points, all the power to you. But respectfully, had they gotten into the playoffs, they would have their clocks cleaned, right? Mm-hmm. I look at this year, selling Anderson, Weegar, and Kadri, and I'm going to include Anderson in their trade deadline because it was a part of
That's
it.
That's
valid. They acquired a ton of great assets. They are still not stripped down to the point where you're like, well, that's depressing. Like their roster still looks like a roster.
They're watchable.
It's not, they're watchable. There's a bunch of guys there. I don't know. I like what the Flames have done.
Being watchable is a quality.
The Leafs
Take
don't have
it
that.
from me. Being watchable is a quality.
And
they're not a great watch, but they are competitive.
First 3 rounds of this year, they have 8 picks.
That's
a lot of picks.
And in the first 3 rounds of the next 3 years, they have 8 plus 5 plus 5. 28 picks.
Damn. Sucks they gave their first round pick last year to the Oilers.
28.
Oh, wait, they didn't do that?
Yeah.
Man, who would do such a thing?
They have 2 first-round picks each of the next 3 drafts. That's excellent work. Craig Conroy, well done. Let's see you hit on those picks, though. You got to hit on those picks.
Oh, yeah.
But great job, and they're going to have $1 bazillion in cap space this summer. You can't build a ton through this year's free agent class, but still. Other notable mentions, as Steve mentioned, the New York Islanders, the Detroit Red Wings, the Minnesota Wild, and the Utah Mammoth, I think, are all teams that any of us could have picked. This is not a, hey, let's disrespect them segment. Now, to get to the disrespectful part of the segment, who took a gigantic L this year for you? And I'm gonna start this one, okay?
Sure.
All right? And I think this is going to be an unpopular pick, but I don't think the Oilers did enough. And I think the reason I'm giving them my L is because they have hemorrhaged talent, and Janmark's not going to play until next season. They've hemorrhaged talent the last couple of summers. They had Stuart Skinner. They wanted to move on from Stuart Skinner. So what did they do? They traded for Tristan Jarry, who had been bad for 2 years, had a good 3-month stint, and is now bad again. I think, and I'm not going to sit here and disrespect Connor Murphy or Jason Dickinson. They have a bad penalty kill. With those 2 guys on it, I think it makes them unquestionably better. But you're telling me that I feel like that first-round pick was meant for Toronto, and it should have been like Lawton and McMahon. Those are the guys you could have got.
Even OEL.
Toronto was willing to take Mangiapane as well. Like, it's just, I feel like there was a weird thing at the deadline where you are now again putting everything on McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, and Bouchard to get this done for them. And I don't know that this team is better than last year's team. And I know last year's team was not as good as the team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals the first time.
This is one of the craziest pump and dumps in recent memory. We talk about it all the time. Oh, they're playing a player and trying to get his value up, and then they're going to get rid of him. It's so rare that they actually do that and do it effectively. Mm-hmm. Tristan Jarry was 9-3-1 with a 909 in Pittsburgh. He still, by some miracle, and this is how special the Oilers are and why you can't waste them.
You can't.
Has a winning record at 6-4-1 with an 8.64. Jesus wept. Are you kidding me with that performance? Absolutely insane. Wow. Like, Connor Ingram is so clearly head and shoulders above, even though he's only 8-6-1. He's also 1 game above 500, but he's an 890. Playoffs start tomorrow. You can't go with Jarry. Not the way he's played.
And the guy they traded away got them to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals, or at least played in the finals. He was the starting goaltender.
Statistically, you'd be better off with Pickard. Forget Skinner. You'd be better off with Pickard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ingram's contract's up after this year, so I guess you're hoping that he carries you.
And just for fun, Skinner in Pittsburgh, 8-5-2, 893. Good Lord.
What a disaster move.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Quit picking at it.
Brutal. So that's my pick. Not a fan of what the Oilers did. Not because they lost enormously and blah, blah. I just don't think they ever got close to doing enough.
I like what they did with the PK. They could, it's crazy. They could still win a cup.
Oh, 100%. That's the thing. So, Steve or Jesse, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. We'll save the angriest man for last.
Wonder who he'll pick.
Who's to say?
Because Adam got to take us all the way back to the trade from a while ago, the Skinner-Jari trade. I get to take us back to a trade that happened a little more recently.
Oh, okay.
And that's the Artemi Panarin trade and the one that Chris Drury made.
Oh, I thought you meant the Stan Bowman one. I'm like, that's really reaching.
No, I said more recently. Because that to me is just the big reason right now the Rangers fall into my top losers category. The Artemi Panarin trade is what it is. It is what you could do at the time, considering he had all of the power in the negotiation. They got Liam Greentree, who we're all excited about.
I like him.
Steve's watched him a lot in his junior videos.
A frequent guest on Oh Wow.
And he's been on a tear since he was traded, too.
They got a third-round pick in 26 and a 2028 fourth-round pick. That, to me, on the surface, is like, okay, it's a decent haul for an expiring Panarin who had all the control in where he wanted to go. You could only negotiate with LA because he was going to dictate that. But that move does not exist in a vacuum.
Right.
That is a testament to the last 2-ish years of Chris Drury management in New York. He reached a point where a franchise icon, one of the greatest players that the New York Rangers have ever had, has to leave for this package so that you get something for him and he does not leave for nothing this offseason. The New York Rangers should have been talking about a giant extension that Panarin had signed this fall or this winter because they're in a position to continue going to the conference finals and winning games, and they need him for the playoffs. But this management group has destroyed this team from the inside out and tinkered and tinkered and tinkered until there is no semblance of a good team left. And there's a reason that they are last in the East. So on deadline day, when the Rangers are selling off pieces, like they sold Sam Carrick to Buffalo, who I mentioned, who are a winner, for that third and the sixth, they do that swap for Battaglia and Othman with Calgary. When they're making these deals, it should have been a day where the Rangers are buying and they're keeping their guys because they need to go on a playoff run. And it's a sad reality at how quickly the Rangers have fallen these last 2 years, and that they are a seller at this deadline.
Agreed,
so
Jesse.
they're one of my losers.
Yeah, that's a big one. And not moving Trocheck.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. I didn't even throw that in.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing with Trocheck, like, I guess I didn't realize how much term he has, like $5.625 million for the rest of this season, which obviously doesn't matter, and then 3 seasons after that. You could still move him at the draft.
Yeah, there's still time with Trocheck. Like, it wasn't like a UFA they sat on, so I'm not too fussed. But
This is the one benefit. This is the one benefit of being bad when you have a player with term is if you don't get your price at the deadline and you stick to it, everyone knows you mean business. So it'll be interesting heading into the draft. Do we get to the inevitable?
yes, go ahead.
The Toronto Maple Leafs frigging stink. I cannot believe how bad they've been, how bad they did at the trade deadline, and how bad they are potentially going to be. Nick Waugh got a good return because he wasn't traded on the actual day of the trade deadline. The Toronto Maple Leafs said, should we learn something from this? And they decided, no, we mustn't. They trade Bobby McMahon at the last minute for pennies. By the way, we didn't have the conditions of the picks that they got for McMahon. Now we do. They get a second rounder in 2027. It's between the Jets and the Blue Jackets second round pick that Seattle owns. And whoever is the better team, which means the worst pick, that's the one the Leafs get. So it's not even going to be a particularly good second rounder that you get from McMahon, and you get a fourth, which Scott Lawton is a third round pick that bumps to a second round pick if the Kings make the playoffs, which I'll just be straight. I don't think they're going to do. And that's it. Holy cow. The haul that you could have gotten for Ekman Larsson. The pieces you could have got for so many guys in this team. You're not picking in the first round. You're not picking in the second round. You're as bad as you are. It's not a good outcome for the Leafs at all. And there's lots of time between now and the beginning of next season, but they have to do a whole hell of a lot in order to become a reputable team again. And the guy in charge of it all didn't make a trade between middle of July and March. They're up against it, fellas. The Toronto Maple Leafs at this deadline are losers.
Let me add to that. Brad Treliving said, and we said this on the podcast, but I think it bears repeating. He said the market, he said we got, specifically as it came to Lawton, well, that was what the market bared, right?
The market bared that because you were a bad talent evaluator and thought your team was better than it is.
Right. And
that's the game.
I actually don't think that that's totally true.
Ooh.
I think what happened was they had an opportunity to fire their coach and had the entire city behind that coach being fired a coach, but not the coach in December. And that coach has played a system continually that does not work for this team.
Agony.
And what that's done is made all the players look bad. Look at how we're talking about Matthews. Look at how we're talking about Nyes, who still has 50 points. Look at how we're talking about Riley. Look at how, and I'm not saying Riley was my favorite player when Keefe was here, but he wasn't this. He wasn't this. McCabe made a play the other night where he backhand passed it to Stetcher and it was immediately intercepted, led to a goal. Jake McCabe is their best defensive defenseman aside from Chris Tanev. Why is this happening? Why do their players look like shit? Because the coach who you could have fired, you didn't fire, and now you're in a position where your players look like shit and you're selling for pennies on the dollar. Just call it what it is. Call it what it is. Indecisiveness will kill you in this business.
It's really bad.
What would you rather do, guys? Let me ask you. Would you rather be decisive and wrong or indecisive and wrong? At least decisive and wrong, I'm like,
hey,
I made a call, it was the wrong call.
Adam, here's the great thing. In this life, you can be more than one thing at once. And Brad Treliving has found a way to be both. Last trade deadline, he was decisive and wrong. This deadline, he was indecisive and wrong.
Yeah. Then the thing about being decisive and wrong this time around is the right answer was so clear.
Yeah.
I don't know how you were so wrong on this decision because we all knew the Leafs were bad around November. And then they continued to be bad. And you believed in a week and a half, two-ish bump you got because you fired a special teams coach, an assistant coach on the bench, and you got good for a little bit. And then you still didn't believe what you were seeing with your eyes when they were bad again after that, and then continued to be bad. So I'm upset with you, Brad, for being wrong because the right answer was right in front of your face.
The best case scenario, like here's the good version. Like here's the good version of how this season could have gone after the Olympic break. They death march into one of the wild card spots and get absolutely thunderstomped by one of the Lightning or Hurricanes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's worth preserving.
That would have made MLSE a couple tens of millions of dollars, so they probably would have liked it.
Minor step back. We'll all be back next year. That's what they would have looked
Yep, they would have loved that outcome, Steve.
Yeah.
And that's what they were holding on to. They were trying to get that so badly that they screwed the whole thing up.
What a sad sack disappointment.
Yep.
I don't have anything else to say.
Your trade deadline winners and losers. Those are our picks. Give us yours. I want to see them in the comments. And let me throw this at you. We've got trade videos coming out of our ears. So if you want a breakdown of any of the trades today, they're on the YouTube channel right now. And Steve has you had a video also just breaking down the Toronto Maple Leafs day on your own too.
Yeah, I think so. I don't even know what we've shot.
Hey, did you like the thing you just watched?
Was it hilarious?
Was it informative?
Was it me losing my mind?
Possibly. Potentially. Most of the time it is. Hey, listen, if you like what SDPN has to offer, you should check out more of our videos and subscribe to our channel by clicking subscribe, or Steve will find you.